Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new series of Darts Actueel.nl. This is Meet the Debutants. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the third episode of Meet the Debutants. Today, we have someone from New Zealand. It's Haupai Puha. Haupai, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. No, I woke up, I had a good sleep, so bright and ready to go for this Zoom chat.
Well, that sounds good. Yeah. At the moment, you're already in England. You moved to England quite earlier, also with James Bailey now, the Australian participant.
Yes.
Yeah. What made you decide to move that early to England already?
With New Zealand, we have managed isolation. So the first flight I could get home from Austria was a week after the World Cup of Darts. So if I took that flight home and then I had mandatory 14-day isolation, then I would only have a week at home before I'd have to come back to England. So it just made sense to stay here.
Oh
And
yeah.
and, and it cost $3,500 as well for managed isolation. So if I went home, I'd have to pay it twice.
Okay. So it's quite more cheaper to just stay there in England
Yeah,
than move back and forth.
yeah, most definitely. It just made sense just to stay here.
Yeah, that's a reasonable argument, of course. Yeah, I think more people know you already. You've appeared on some World Series events, of course, in Team New Zealand at the World Cup of Darts. But yeah, can you still just introduce yourself? Like, who are you? How old are you? What work do you do?
Yeah, okay. My name's Haupai Puha from New Zealand. I was born in a little town called Gisborne. I currently reside in Auckland, and I am 35 years old. I have three children, three young children, and a wife at home waiting for me. And yeah, I guess I'm here to pursue my dream of being a dart pro.
Wow, sounds good. Is it difficult to stay there in England for all those weeks without your family and children?
Yeah, it is. But the last 2 years, I've been working away from home. So I'm a roofer, and you got to kind of chase the work wherever it is. So the last 2 years, probably 14 months of those 2 years, I've been working away from home. So I'd only be home on a weekend anyway. So, and most of the time I work 6 days a week. So I probably talk to my wife and kids more so now, every morning and every night, more so than when I'm actually there in person.
Wow, wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, let's talk about the darts. What's your background in darts? How have you did you start playing darts?
I grew up, darts was a family sport. In New Zealand households, a dartboard in the garage is pretty common. So I grew up throwing a dart. Obviously, I didn't pick it up until 5 years ago. I played every other sport but darts. I didn't even realize it was a sport until obviously Michael Van Gerwen blew it up all over TV. And yeah, I guess I just told myself I can do that too. But before that, I thought I was going to be a golf professional. So I played golf for 15 years, and I traveled around New Zealand, Australia, doing that, thinking I was going to be a golf pro, and yeah, it didn't work, and now here I am, a
Wow,
dart
so
player.
multi-talented. That's for sure. And wow, you're qualified for your first World Championship now. Yeah, it was quite an interesting way of qualifying because you qualified through the DPNZ
Yeah,
order of merit instead of a specific qualifier of New Zealand.
yeah.
Was it something that surprised you, or did you kind of expect it with the COVID measures along the way?
It was definitely unexpected. I was given so the Thursday before I was leaving for Austria, I was told that I was given the spot. So
Wow.
I mean, I had to make a decision on that, on the spot whether I could or not. So had to find out details of how I can make it work, if I'm allowed to even stay here with the current situations. And yeah, it was a bit of a shock because there's 16 qualifiers that normally play off for that spot. So even though I was number one by quite a bit, I think I won 10 out of the 14 tournaments that we had for the qualifiers. So I was well in front, but yeah, we don't pick on rankings. We have a set tournament for that. So it was a bit of a surprise, yeah.
So how was that moment? Did you get a call or was it just an email? Or yeah, it had to be like a great surprise, like one of the best surprises in your life, I suppose.
Yeah, it was, but I was more worried about having to take time off work.
Oh,
Yeah. So I mean, it's worked out in the end. Uh, yeah, but I mean, it's 3 months. Like I've never like the most I've ever done nothing was probably like 2 days, and I've been stuck in here in a motel and trying to practice, but it's hard when you don't do that kind of stuff.
yeah. Well, at least you have James Bailey now around you. Like, how is your um, like day schedule? Do you have certain times where you say to James, "Well, now we're going to practice," or you just do it individually, or how do we have to imagine your stay over
Um,
there?
yeah, well, both of us we're not big on the practicing. Normally, I like for the last 6 months I've been only playing online darts on a Saturday night. So that's I wouldn't even practice like any during the week up until that because I had nothing to practice for.
Hmm.
So now that I've got all day to practice, we've been putting in the work. We've been putting 6 to 8 hours in a day, and it's just getting the body used to practicing. I guess it's not going that great at the moment, but at least we can build and grind with each other. I guess.
Yeah, that's good. You have still some time to practice at the moment of recording. Yeah, talking about that DPNZ qualifier, which didn't go through, obviously. Um, you were obviously you are the best New player from New Zealand at the moment because you're on top of the rankings. But do you think the PDC has to decide? Well, we have to just take the top guy on the ranking of the DPNZ order of merit every time, just like the Australian tour does. So no New Zealand qualifier again.
Uh, yeah. I mean, if that's what they want to do it, that's how they do it. Like we just play to have. I guess they tell us what we have to do.
Okay.
So that's out of our hands. I guess it would
Yeah.
make it easier for me if it was the number one. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, if I hear you correctly, it doesn't really matter for you. It's you're just going for the top spot anyway. And the
Yeah,
well,
yeah. Well, number one gets the World Cup as well. So the top two from the rankings get the World Cup of darts. So that's probably bigger for me representing my country in terms of picking one. Um, and you also get the World Series of darts as well. You get Hamilton or Auckland wherever they play it. So there's quite a few advantages of coming first, I
hmm
guess.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, talking about that World Cup of Darts experience, you played the last 2 years in Team New Zealand. Yeah, how was it this year? How was this year's experience to, yeah, play pairs and singles against the best players from the world?
Yeah, I love being backstage. To be honest, that's the best part. Just it makes you feel like you belong there when you're mixing and mingling with all of the guys that you see on TV, you idolize, and you're there, throwing next to them, throwing with them, joking with them, sharing a beer, having a beer. So that's the best part of it.
Yeah, can you call some names who were the most the nicest guys behind backstage?
Oh, the Belgian boys. Yeah, they're always smiling. They're always joking. They're a good a bunch of guys. Those two.
That
Yeah.
sounds good. Yeah, you are a darts player not only in New Zealand, but you also play on that DPA tour in Australia, which means you can kind of compare the two levels of the two countries.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the differences? What's the difference between those tours? Is the standard higher in Australia, or is it a little bit similar?
The top of New Zealand and the top of Australia, the same. We're like the same level. There's just more top players in Australia, so they probably got double the amount. The way the DPA plays their tournaments, it's straight knockout, so it's a um, different competition. We don't have that in New Zealand. We have a round robin. Is that what you call it? Round robin,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go into knockout. So our tournaments could take 9 hours. So start 9 in the morning, and then your finals at 7 at night, and that's just normal for us. But whereas in Australia, you can lose first round and you're gone. So it's a different type of pressure.
Well, you certainly did quite well on both of the tours. Yeah, before we're going into the World Championship itself, yeah, like Cody Harris is a famous player from New Zealand that really tried to make it on the PDC tour. He still has some difficulties with it. He moved to England, and well, he played well on the Challenge Tour.
Yeah.
Is it something that you are also planning to do, moving to England and really chasing your dream of becoming a darts player?
Yeah, well, with returning home, you have to get so you have to book a spot in managed isolation before you could book a flight home. So at the moment, I can't get home until February. So looks like I'm going to Q school.
Yeah, well, I mean,
So there's absolutely no spots in managed isolation until February the 4th. So I'm
yeah,
going to be here for Q school.
that's quite some weeks and months to spend over there. And well, let's hope you're gonna have a good result and on Q school, and maybe even I don't know when the first Challenge Tour events begin, but maybe even assume. Well, let's just first assume you're getting that tour card at Q school, and and just becoming a pro tour player right after that. That will be the perfect story. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, let's go to the World Championship.
Okay.
You are a player. You have experience on the big stage, World Series, World Cup of Darts. Um, yeah, what is your goal at the upcoming World Championship? Is it playing well? Is it going through the first round? Or yeah, what's your goal?
I guess just playing well, performing well, win or lose. Like obviously, everyone has to have the ultimate goal of winning. Winning is everyone's goal. But I just would like to perform. Yeah, win or lose, as long as I don't make a fool of myself, I guess.
Yeah, well, that sounds good. I certainly think you won't make a fool of yourself. You showed in the you showed in the past tournaments. Yeah, let's go to the quiz. Let's see what you know about darts in New Zealand. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, good. Okay. We have 5 questions about the darts in New Zealand. Yeah, question one. 13 players from New Zealand appeared on the PDC World Championship. The question is, can you name them all? Can you name as much as you can? I'll keep up
Wow.
with you.
Okay. Well, Cody, Ben Robb, Bernie Smith, Craig Caldwell, Warren Parry, Preston Ridd,
Um,
Craig, not Preston Ridd.
no, I don't have it on my list. No. Oh,
No.
Preston Reed. Yes, correct. Yeah.
Craig Ross.
Yes.
Um, Warren French,
Correct.
Dave Harrington.
Yes.
How
I
many was
have
that?
I have 1, 2, 3, 4 more. But you already did quite
Yep.
well.
Alan Bolton.
Yes.
Well, what about Rob Zabo?
Yes. I'll name the other three. I have Philip Hazel on my list.
Phil Hazel, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Mark McGrath and
I was going to...
Koa
I
Kokiri.
wasn't... Yeah, I wasn't sure. Well, Koha was... He qualified through the Oceania. So he
Okay.
wasn't... Yeah.
But no, he did. You said you were a little bit afraid for this quiz because you don't watch a lot of darts, but
Yeah.
I mean,
And I'm new to darts too. It's only been 5 years.
yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
you did quite well. You knew almost all of the players. Let's go to the second question. What was the
Okay.
best performance from a player from New Zealand at the World Championship? And I'll give you like
I guess Bernie
you.
Smith. Bernie Smith missing the darts
It's
to go.
I'm talking about best performance means like the round. So A is prelim round, B first round, or C the second round.
No one's passed the first round, I don't think.
Which is absolutely correct. It's B.
Yeah.
Yeah, does that surprise you? No player from New Zealand that passed the first round?
Yeah, I guess. But obviously, it's just totally different. Like we're not prepared for to perform. You know, first game up. That's the hardest part. Coming from New Zealand, we're not prepared. We get to warm up for 8 hours before we have our finals. So it's pretty tough to prepare for these kind of events. So I am surprised that no one's got past it, but you do seem to be coming from a lower tier nation. You do seem to draw seeds once you get past that first round. So it is pretty tough. But yeah.
Well, maybe you're writing history after this World Championship to become the first player from New Zealand to get in that second round. Would be awesome, at least. We're going to question 3 about the DPA Tour. How many matches did you win in 2020 during the DPA Tour? And you played 33 matches in total. And I give you some answers. Is it A, 26, B, 27, or C, 28?
I wouldn't have a clue. In 2020.
Yeah.
How many did I? This is just a guess because I wouldn't have a clue. 27.
27. No, that's the wrong guess. It's 26 matches won. Yeah, which is like a fine record on the Australian tour. Yeah, but that was a guess. You wouldn't have a chance. That's true. Let's go to question 4. How many Challenge Tour titles has Cody Harris won in his career so far?
Oh wow! Have you got a multiple answer there for me?
Unfortunately, not. But
has he even won? I don't even know if he's won one. We'll go 2.
Which is the correct answer.
Oh.
Yeah, 2 titles. He has won 2 titles. I mean, you knew it all the way. You just. Then the last question: which 2 players appeared 4 or more times on the PDC World Cup of Darts for New Zealand? So
more than 4 times.
Yeah. So which 2 players from New Zealand played the most at the World Cup of Darts?
1, 2, Cody and Wazza. Cody and Warren Perry.
Yes, Cody and Warren Perry. That's correct. Did it surprise you? You knew more about New Zealand darts than before?
Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah, most definitely.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you, Haupai, for this little quiz and the interview before it. And yeah, let's hope you're going to write history on that World Championship. And I wish you all the best in London and at Q School, obviously. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much. And it's a pleasure. And thanks for having me.